first major point that a lot of people didn't understand is that I wasn't complaining about the Marksman because it was too hard. I can use the Marksman perfectly fine. But then I struggled to hit anything with it, and whenever I would hit it, I'd end up dying anyway because I had to stand still to hit it, which naturally led me into using the charged pistol instead.
What?
I did give the example of when I first played the game, and I tried out the Marksman because I thought it looked cool, and then after consistently missing my shots, I gave up and just started using the charged pistol.
May your L's be many, and your bitches few.
What's up, my fellow clout givers? Yes, we are going back into enemy territory with yet another video response. So, my video on Under the Mayo has really blown up, and surprisingly, it is very positively received, so thank you all for the support. Unfortunately, we still got some weaponized mental gymnastics to cover, which is 2 videos from a channel known as the Beansprout. The Beansprout has made 2 videos on Ultrakill, both of which are about the game's pistol, and how it apparently has a problem, which, as we will find out later, is not an actual problem. So, I hope you're ready, cause we're gonna be dealing with some pretty dumb arguments here, as well as cover Beansprout's response to me in the comments of these videos.
Hello everyone, my name is Beansprout, and today we're going to be talking about Ultrakill once again. And today's video might be a bit controversial, as an element of Under the Mayo's argument about Ultrakill is going to be present in this video.
Ah, shit. Here we go again.
You know we're in for some quality content when this guy is going to share the same opinions on the game as Under the Mayo. And yes, he does in fact go on later in this video saying that the retaliation towards Mayo was unjustified, which, in light of recent events, I would say I disagree. But let's go ahead and hear what Beansprout has to say.
So this should be a fun topic to cover. So, when I made my original Ultrakill videos, I got quite a lot of comments saying, why are you using the charged pistol? You should use the coin shot. And then that kinda left my mind for a bit. But when I watched Under the Mayo's videos on Ultrakill, it kinda came back into my mind and it reminded me of the reason why I didn't use the coin shot.
Now, before we get into Beansprout's point about why he doesn't use the Marksman, I should point out that he mentioned specific comments saying, why are you using the charged pistol? You should use the coin shot instead. I looked into both comment sections of those specific videos and I have not seen one comment that makes that question. So either Beansprout is lying about his comments and is just looking for a reason to criticize the game, or he is filtering them so that only he can see them. He could also just be looking at the other comments and is basically oversimplifying their actual points by making a straw man, but we can only speculate. The point is, I have never encountered such comments that Beansprout is talking about. If any clarification can be made, that would be appreciated.
And I'll tell you why. I play games like this very casually. Contrary to me being a YouTuber, I'm not really a hardcore gamer like a lot of people think YouTubers are.
Okay.
That's kind of a nothing point to make there. Sure, using the Marksman effectively requires a lot of skill, but that doesn't make you a hardcore gamer if you so happen to just use it effectively. It just means you're getting better at the game. The hardcore elements of Ultrakill come down to things like speedrunning, getting P ranks, and trying to get the highest wave on the cyber grind. Mastering one weapon isn't a necessarily hardcore gamer thing to do, it's just basic player knowledge.
And the reason why this is relevant is because when I first played Ultrakill, I tried the coin shot because I saw it in videos and I thought it looked cool. But then I struggled to hit anything with it, and whenever I would hit it, I'd end up dying anyway because I had to stand still to hit it, which naturally led me into using the charged pistol instead.
Well, of course, when you try out a new weapon for the very first time, you're going to struggle with it. It's a brand new weapon in a video game. You're not going to know how to use it at its full potential until you keep playing the game, especially in the case of the Marksman. All you have to do is practice the Marksman, and boom, you're probably going to do better. It all just comes down to practice makes perfect.
And now some people may say, well, it's your fault for not aiming properly.
Well, duh.
but you have to think about the average player's experience, which is kind of what Mayo was talking about.
And what exactly is stopping the average player from practicing a weapon they don't understand? You're acting like a first-time player won't go out of their way to master it. The only thing that will stop a casual player like yourself from mastering the Marksman is their lack of motivation or creativity. That's not the game's fault, that's on the player.
Not everyone who plays Ultrakill is going to immediately become a god at the game and start doing really cool tricks like firing a rocket at the coin or something like that.
Nobody is saying you need to become a god at the game right off the bat. They're just saying that you need to practice. Because yes, weapons like the Marksman are very complicated, which is why the average player will keep playing the game and try to figure out how to use a weapon more effectively. Look at Shenpai. She probably didn't know projectile boosting existed up until she did it herself for the first time. You want to know what she did when she discovered it? She kept using it, and was figuring out ways to use it more effectively, like on groups of enemies. That's what this game is all about. It's about being creative.
And I know some people use the argument of, oh well, the coin shot's cool, so it doesn't really matter.
Again, I could not find any comments on his video that are making those arguments, so I'm pretty sure he's just oversimplifying people's criticisms and is making a straw man argument.
But for someone like me, I wasn't really thinking about that. I wasn't thinking about style points. I was thinking about what would get me killed the least. And for me, the option was the charged pistol. And it also felt really cool punching the charged pistol.
Punching the charged wait, you can do that? Hold up, I gotta do a goog.
What a fucking liar, dude!
But if you were just looking to survive, then wouldn't practicing with the Marksman also boost your chances of survival? You're kinda confusing me with your points here. Practicing with the Marksman does nothing but benefit the first time player if they want to survive. Kinda like with any game out there, so I don't understand what point you're trying to get across.
Now I do want to clarify, I'm not trying to stir up any drama, I'm trying to give my opinion. This is just my personal experience with Ultrakill, and if you have a different experience, I'd love to hear it down in the comment section below. I'd love to see a respectful argument from both sides, instead of just a blind rage.
So that was a fucking lie.
Well, here's the thing, Beansprout. I kinda did, and you pretty much just tried brushing it off as if I was missing the point. And when you got ratioed so hard for your null points, you contradict yourself and went on a blind rage. Not a good look, Chief. You told us to give our side, and you retaliated. That's some Mayo shit right there.
I personally think in the case of Under The Mayo's second video, it wasn't really that bad and people took it a bit too seriously. As I'm gonna say it, but it's just a game.
You fail to understand why people made a big fuss over Mayo's video. It's because he missed the point entirely on what Ultrakill's all about. Style, creativity, and fun. You damage controlling on Mayo's behalf is not going to change any of that. And if you want more context about my criticisms towards Mayo's video on Ultrakill Act 2, then go watch my video responding to him. Now, let's get into Beansprout's second video about the pistol, because apparently he feels the need to clarify things that aren't the comments he was talking about, but instead he doubles down on his takes.
Hello everyone, my name is Beansprout and today we're talking about Ultrakill again. And now, just before I went on holiday to Egypt, which was a great holiday by the way, I put up a video called Ultrakill's Pistol Problem, and it seemed like a lot of people didn't really get the point of the video.
We did get your point, but it was stupid. That should tell you why the ratio was negative in the first place. You kept insisting that it's about the first time player, as if that really mattered, but it doesn't, and he's gonna keep on spewing the same argument, so let's get into it.
So I'm here to explain and clarify a few of the points that I made in that video. The first major point that a lot of people didn't understand is that I wasn't complaining about the Marksman because it was too hard. I can use the Marksman perfectly fine. What I was saying is that it's difficult for new players to use. Brand new players on their first playthrough.
And? You're once again acting like a first-time player won't try and practice with the Marksman. And besides, the fact that the Marksman is such a complicated weapon is the reason why the Piercer is the first weapon that is given to you. It's simpler. Ultrakill's not forcing you to use the Marksman, it's merely just encouraging it. The first-time player struggling to use the Marksman is not a problem with the game. It's natural, because they are using it for the first time, and they need to learn the weapon in order to use it effectively. That's my entire point, which you proceeded to once again shrug off in the comments.
and I want to drill that in, because I got a lot of comments, which I really appreciate, trying to give me advice and stuff. There was also a large pool of people who thought I was hating on the game because I was bad at it. And while no, I'm not the best Ultrakill, I wouldn't say I'm exactly bad at it.
Okay.
The main point I made in the video is that the Marksman pistol isn't really the best option for the first player.
Yeah, because it's a more skill-based weapon. Why do you think you start with the piercer? That's not a fault of the game like you think it is.
And this could lead to a lot of players not using the Marksman at all.
Again, that's the fault of the player, not the game.
I did give the example of when I first played the game, and I tried out the Marksman because I thought it looked cool, and then after consistently missing my shots, I gave up and just started using the charged pistol. And I think a lot of people took that as me saying that this was a very recent thing, but no, that was about a year ago, a year and a half, I don't know.
So then, you're just proving my point that all it takes is practice. It's natural for a first-time player to not understand the Marksman since it's hard to use in combat. So I don't see how practice is irrelevant according to you, when it's about how complicated the weapon is and that it takes time to master it. Why do you call this a problem of the game?
And look, whether you'd like to admit it or not, the Marksman pistol is very difficult to use for new players.
And who's saying it's not? A lot of people in your comments are just saying that it takes practice. Just ignore the people that are saying skill issue. Those are called trolls, and what trolls want is to be acknowledged.
For players that are just learning the game and they're trying to move, try not to get hit, and also hit this tiny little coin at the same time, it's very difficult. Now yes, I did get a lot of comments consistently saying that it just takes practice, but that wasn't the point. I think it's good to have things that the player finds difficult and needs to practice, but at the same time, my whole point was that it drives people away from using the Marksman.
So how exactly is practice irrelevant towards the first time player? What exactly is stopping them from trying to learn how to use the Marksman effectively outside of their own lack of motivation? This is pretty much a nothing point to make because literally everyone is a new player at some point. And the reason why so many things about the Marksman have been discovered was because people kept playing the game and practicing with that one gun. Why is that irrelevant to new players? Why can't new players look at these moves that people are pulling off and think to themselves, if I practice enough with the Marksman, I'll be able to do that as well. Now, the Marksman, for sure, will pull away new players due to how complicated it is. But that doesn't mean they don't want to use it. It just means that they're not ready for it yet because it's easy to learn, but hard to master. There's so many things you can do with the coins, it's insane. And that's the biggest reason why people are using it to begin with.
I wasn't saying to make it easier. I was just giving my perspective on it.
Look, I'm not saying your perspective is invalid, but what I am saying is that it's a stupid argument. Yes, you will struggle with the Marksman, but that doesn't mean practice is irrelevant. Practice has everything to do with the fact that new players are struggling with this weapon. I don't understand that mentality, and really, it just comes off as a dumb nitpick.
But another point I'd like to add is that I've seen a lot of Ultrakill fans acting like it's the best game ever made, and if you ever criticize it, your video gets a large amount of dislikes. Just look at Under The Mayo. I mean, his first few videos on it were pretty hostile, but his follow-up video to his Ultrakill Act 2 review got an unjustified amount of dislikes. But to me, it shows that a lot of members of the Ultrakill community, especially hardcore fans of the game, have this sort of inability to listen to criticism.
Yes guys, we totally just blindly hate Mayo for absolutely no reason other than he dared to criticize our game. Never mind the fact that Beansprout literally pointed out that Mayo was being hostile towards the Ultrakill community. Like, wow. You assume hostility, show hostility, and then get hostility. What a fucking surprise. Now, as for Mayo's follow-up video, the reason it got dislike bombed to begin with is that Mayo was doubling down on his takes. The same stupid criticisms and suggestions he made in his previous reviews are in that same video, and he even made some dumber suggestions like switching out the starting weapon with the Marksman, the very weapon you are criticizing for pulling away new players. So if your entire argument is that the Marksman pulls away new players because of how complicated it is, why would Mayo suggest that new players should start with the Marksman rather than a more simple gun like the Piercer? Again, this is not a case of blind hate. It is a legitimate response because of how Mayo continues to miss the point entirely on what this game is all about. Show hostility towards the community in his first video on it, double down on his takes, and makes dumb suggestions. Suggestions that would ruin the game because it goes against what the author wants. That is why Mayo has been getting backlash. This just feels like you are cherry picking the fanboys that will comment skill issue on Mayo's videos, or whatever other type of Ultrakill fanboy you've encountered.
Now back to the point about the pistol. I feel it's very justified to make this point, and a lot of people saw the words Ultrakill and Problem in the same title and then immediately went to dislike the video, despite not even listening to what I had to say.
Explain your comment section then. The vast majority of comments on there are literally suggesting that it takes practice, which is a valid argument to make in context of what your video is all about. That doesn't tell me they're blindly hating on your video. That seems more like they're trying to help new players. So again, I'm gonna have to call you out for cherry picking the responses you've gotten in order to paint yourself as some sort of victim.
So yeah, this video was just me making this topic a little bit clearer, and also mentioning an issue that I have with the community of Ultrakill. And judging from my experience with that last video, I fully expect the same thing to happen again. But oh well, for the people who want to listen, this video is here.
Man, if you're coping this hard over comments, try going through a response video. You're probably gonna have a heart attack. With that, we reached the end of both videos from Beansprout. I also want to quickly go over Beansprout's response towards me in his own comment section for his second video. Admittedly, there was some miscommunication on my part in these comments when it comes to the context of Under the Mayo. I will take the L on that one. However, Beansprout is still being a nuisance on this topic because he tries disproving my point about how nothing is stopping a new player from practicing the marksman if they fail to understand it. Your first point makes absolutely no sense. The marksman isn't hard for me now. The example of when I first played the game was in fact over a year ago, so it is hardly shifting the goalpost. Little does he know that this very response he made literally proves my point. It takes practice. I don't understand how practice is irrelevant when he literally showcases it himself that since he was practicing with the marksman, he started using it more effectively. He sucked at using it before, but now he can use it fine. This I feel like is on Beansprout for being illiterate, because in his previous video, he poorly chooses his wording when explaining his point, so it came off as projection rather than talking about other new players. This is why I accused you of shifting the goalpost. You say that you can use the marksman just fine, but at the same time practice is irrelevant. That makes zero sense. Then he goes on about why he made the video, which I don't feel like repeating myself over why that's dumb. And then there was a bit of miscommunication regarding Mayo's videos, which again, I will take the L on. However, if Beansprout's point about Mayo is that he got an unjustified amount of dislikes on his Ultrakill follow-up video, then that shows he doesn't understand why Mayo got backlash to begin with, which I've explained earlier. He doubled down on his takes when people criticized him for it. That's all there is to it. Also, please do yourself a favor and respond to Psychonautic Therapy's comments. That comes off as disingenuous when he tries to add to the conversation and you actively went out of your way to ignore him. That's all from me though. Hopefully Beansprout takes the L on this because he literally added nothing to the discussion about Ultrakill and how it somehow has a problem with its pistol. His points have no weight on them because his so-called problem can be easily solved with one simple task: practice. Because practice makes perfect. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to subscribe because I need clout.